to be their first really game action and now it's the real deal. That's what it means. So I don't. And then here again, I've always felt like Monday night the excitement was more so for the players, the fans, the coaches, everybody. Now you got a Monday night game, opening game, the whole deal. I think it's a big deal.
All right, because the Saints are in the NFC and the Texans are in the AFC, they only play each other every 4 years. In 2015, the Texans won in Houston. In 2011, the Saints beat the Texans here.
And Houston's two biggest stars, Deshaun Watson and J.J. Watt, I'll tell you what, both guys have a ton of respect for Drew Brees in that offense.
Seeing the amount of years he's had, 5,000 yards, 5,000 yards, 5,000 yards, 4,000 yards, and just constantly doing it on the, repeatedly every year. And it's crazy to think, correct me if I'm wrong, that he's never had an MVP, which is very, very mind-blowing. I think he probably had a Super Bowl MVP, but never a regular season MVP. I mean, it's mind-blowing to even think that.
He's a guy who's so well respected around the league because of the way he attacks the game, the way he respects the game, and the way that he goes about his business. I think he's an incredible player and a guy that a lot of people around the league look to as just an unbelievable talent and a guy who's done it the right way for a very long time.
Jim and Roman, we're going to talk to you guys about the Texans offense in just a second, especially Deshaun Watson. But first, we're going to talk about the Texans defense and more on the Texans D. And let's go inside the Superdome to Carly McCord.
Thanks, guys. Still joined by Texans insider Lainey Fritz. Lainey, you covered this team for the past 3 years, and one of the biggest things you think of when you think of the Houston Texans is J.J. Watt, a guy who got his first sack against the New Orleans Saints. Since then, he's up to 93. What is it about him that makes him so special?
Yeah, it all started with that sack against the Saints, and he has just taken off his career. 3-time NFL Defensive Player of the Year, a 5-time Pro Bowler. His size, explosiveness, and his ability to just torment quarterbacks on every single snap. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out now without Jadeveon Clowney, who was traded to the Seahawks.
Yeah, you mentioned that trade with Jadeveon Clowney. Last year, you had J.J. Watt with 16, Jadeveon Clowney with 9 sacks. How much of a workload does that put on J.J.?
It puts a lot more on J.J., and to be honest, Clowney was a guy who was double-teamed a lot, so that's going to come into play. And Whitney Merciless is another guy on this Texans defense you need to keep your eye on because he's going to be relied on a lot more now as a pass rusher.
She's Lainey Fritz. I'm Carly McCord here in the Superdome. Guys, we'll send it back to you.
All right, Carly and Lainey, thank you very much. Now let's talk Texas offense, specifically Houston quarterback Deshaun Watson. Containing him, in our opinion, is the Rouse's winning recipe for the black and gold.
So, Jim, Roman, your take on the third-year quarterback from Clemson. Jim, you first. What did the Saints have to do to contain Watson?
Well, he's very athletic, so it's not easy to contain him. He can beat you running the football. He can beat you scrambling. He can beat you throwing the football. He's got a good arm. He's strong, he's smart, he's a leader. I think he's a young talent really on the rise. He's getting better every year. I don't know if I'd put him in the elite class of quarterbacks in the NFL, but he'd be in that next tour, a winner.
All right, I was just going to say a winner. How about this, Roman? He won a high school state championship in Georgia. He won a college football national championship at Clemson. Is there something about having those intangibles of being a winner and having won every level you've played at?
Yes, it does. As a former quarterback myself, it's something about commanding the huddle. And that's one thing you have not had an issue with Deshaun Watson since he's been in the league. Everybody raves about how much of a leader he is, all the great intangibles that he has. Not only that, but the guy has been through a lot in his life. He hasn't come from everything else and everything's been given to him. He's earned everything that he's done, and he's earned it at every level. So anytime you got a guy that comes into a locker room that's doing the right things and that's earned it the right way, you automatically give him more respect. And then you see him go out there and perform at a high level on the field, that he's putting balls in places that nobody's had in before. DeAndre Hopkins is getting more targets. William Fuller is having more success down the field. He's able to really open up your offense, and Bill O'Brien's done a great job of kind of tootling and making that offense around him and his skill set, where they're doing run pass options and some other things. So I'm looking for this defense, the Saints defense, to really trying to hone in on him and understand that they're probably going to have some run pass options and really using his feet to allow him to go and take the top off the ball with the deep ball.
All right, that analysis from Roman and Jim, our Rouse's recipe for success for the black and gold this evening.
Now for some more Saints off the field news, let's go back to the WDSU studios where Christina Watkins is standing by.
Well, hey guys, so we know Who Dat Nation is hyped. We are ready. We have been anxiously waiting for this season, but I want to tell you about one little Who Dat who is really, really excited. So let's go back to September 9th, 2010. That's the day Kaden Johnson was born at West Jefferson Medical Center. Look at her all, fresh and beautiful. So she received special treatment because on her birthday, she got to celebrate a Saints win. That was actually the day the Saints played their first game after winning the Super Bowl. Fast forward now to today. Kaden is 9 years old, celebrating a very special birthday.
Because it's my golden birthday.
Yes.
And what are you doing for your birthday?
I'm going to the Super Bowl.
Wow. Hey, that's right. We could use that. Hey,
You're going to the Saints game.
hey, you just predicted something.
You're
Great.
not on the 9th and you're going to the Saints game.
So yes, Kaden turned 9 on the 9th, and she's repping number 9 for, of course, Drew Brees. She's going to be at the game tonight, hoping to get another win just like she did on the day she was born 9 years ago. Happy birthday to you, Kaden. And I want you to check this out, this new little hoodat. His name is Colston Drew Conde, named, of course, after Marcus Colston and Drew Brees, right? So now before fans can even enter the Dome to cheer on those players, we all want to know about the game day forecast. We know it's hot, but just how hot? Let's head on over to Chief Meteorologist Margaret Orr for that information. Margaret?
Wait, it is still 93 degrees. I know, say it isn't so, but it's looking pretty, and you know what? It's not raining. So here is a look at our satellite, and what you'll notice is, hey, it's looking pretty good. A few clouds out there. We could use some clouds, right, to help cool us down a bit. The heavier rain well to the north, so we don't have to worry about that. And as you look into the metro, that's some of the cloudiness that we saw South Shore, not a raindrop. And as we go into the Superdome, look at that. Looking oh so pretty. All right, that temperature, yep, it's 93. So let me show you the forecast. Hot this evening, but the good news is Saints win. Who dat? We'll be right back.
Tonight's Cox Saints on 6 Countdown to Kickoff coverage is brought to you by Cox, bringing us closer. Rouse's, official grocer of the New Orleans Saints. And Law Tigers, Louisiana's motorcycle lawyers.
Talk about sportsmanship tonight. The Saints are honoring the Little League team from River Ridge, which became the first team from Louisiana to win the famed Little League World Series. Over the weekend, the 12-year-olds had a bit of a chat with Chase Taysom Hill. He's, of course, the jack of all trades, and he told them If they need a pitcher, a first baseman, a catcher, or a third baseman, or a third base coach even, he is their guy. Of course he is.
And speaking of Taysom Hill, he's our newest member of the Saints on 6 team, and all season long, along with Jim and Roman, Taysom is going to give us a lot of great insight on the black and gold.
Here he is right now. Here is my brother, WDSU anchor Travers Mackle and Taysom Hill. That's right, Travers Mackle here in studio with Taysom Hill. So let me just get the first question out the gate here. Traditionally, when people would wear jerseys with number 7, it was always for Saints icon Morton Anderson, the great kicker. But now people are buying jerseys in droves with number 7 with Hill on the back. You've become almost like a cult sensation here in New Orleans. How does that make you feel when you see people on the street and tailgating wearing number 7 with your name on the back of that jersey?
Yeah, I mean, certainly humbled, right? I don't think a lot of places that, people aren't lining up to buy the third-string quarterback's jersey. But I would say I've felt so much love from the city of New Orleans. I love our fan base. It's such a unique city. The fan base is so unique. Rain or shine, win or lose, they are out there supporting us, loving us, and I've felt nothing but love and support from this city and this community. I love it.
When you go up against a team like the Texans, is it defense that you look at first when you have a team like this?
Yeah, I mean, I think coaching, the coaching staff gets together and they start to put together game plans. They put together how they want this game to go. But I would say offensively, what we're looking at is 100% defense. Like, what are they going to play is how they're going to try to stop us. And I would say this defense is predicated on pressuring the quarterback, and that's what they've done so well year in and year out with J.J. Watt, Clowney, who is now gone.
Right.
There's so many key guys that can rush the passer up front, which is why you see the numbers that they've been able to produce over the last few years, and that will definitely be an emphasis for us to make sure that we can keep those guys at bay and make sure that we can protect Drew and we have ball out throws and different things like that. So that would be the emphasis and what makes them so good.
Really quickly before we let you go, you're a dual threat quarterback. What are your thoughts on Deshaun Watson? He's one of the best quarterbacks in football, let alone one of the best dual threat quarterbacks. As a guy who's similar to you and you're similar to him, what do you think about him as a dual threat quarterback?
Yeah, I think Deshaun Watson creates a lot of problems for a defense. Obviously, Deshaun and I were the same class. So I remember watching him at Clemson. I was really impressed with what he did at Clemson and then certainly what he's done with the Texans. So I remember when Tom Savage was here, he had a relationship, played with, watched Deshaun Watson grow and kind of mature into that role. And I remember he made a comment that every time Deshaun stepped on the field, you just felt like a big play was going to happen, and he has that ability. Whether the play is not perfectly designed, he has the ability to make something out of nothing, and I think he's done a really nice job of doing that and then making good decisions when things break down.
All right, Taysom Hill, we appreciate your time. Thanks, you very much. With Taysom Hill, I'm Travers Mackle. Let's send it back to you. Hey, Travers and Taysom, thank you very much. We are now less than 30 minutes away from kickoff. After the break, Roman Harper breaks down Saints tight end Jared Cook's game and tells us why he can be so special in black and gold this season.
Welcome back, everyone. In my opinion, I think one of the biggest additions for the black and gold this season has been the addition of tight end Jared Cook.
I would agree with you. I would also say maybe you should just anchor the show, because that was a great introduction right there. The 32-year-old, 11-year veteran is probably the best tight end the Saints have had since Jimmy Graham, and he is now the focus of our Cox, where speed makes a difference segment. Here are our colleagues, sports anchor Sharif Ishak and former team captain Roman Harper.
So during the offseason, Roman asked me, can we do something fun and interactive? Here we are at Earlman Stadium on Tulane's campus for Roman the secondary. I know it's roaming, but your name is Roman Harper. Who are we starting with?
We're starting with Jared Cook. We're going to show why and how Drew Brees and Sean Payton are going to use this guy to really set up matchups and matchup problems on the Saints offense. So right now, Kendall's going to play Alvin Kamara. He's going to be split outside of me. All right, I'm going to be Jared Cook. I'm going to not be in a normal tight end position. I'm going to be standing up wide, and this is how we're going to do. If we have a linebacker out here holding against Alvin Kamara, we love this matchup. He's going to motion him back in. All right, now you know you have one-on-one coverage with a safety or a corner on Jared Cook. You love his size and his speed combination. So now they're going to run just a straight go route, and Drew Brees is going to see it. As I release it, I'm Jared Cook. If this guy's on me like this cornerback, that means the back shoulder is open. He's over the top. Back shoulder is open. So Drew Brees still loves this route. If the DB is behind me, all right, he's even and he's leaving me. Now he's going over the top. Drew Brees loves this matchup. He's going to throw the ball, drop it right in the bucket. Drew Brees is an amazing quarterback, very accurate, and they're going to use this guy to attack matchups and different people out there on one-on-one matchups.
He is Roman Harper with Roman the secondary on Jared Cook. Back to you.
All right, Sharif and Roman, that was excellent. That was also our Cox, where speed makes a difference segment. Coach, I'll ask you now about Jared Cook. Your thoughts on the veteran tight end joining the black and gold?
Well, I'll tell you why he's going to fit in well with the Saints, because when I was talking to Sean Payton a few weeks ago when we were here, he told me he doesn't like short receivers. He likes big, tall receivers at tight end and at the wideouts. He's got one right now in Jared Cook. Big, tall, good-looking kid. Boy, he can catch and he can run. He can get open. Makes the breaks well, does all that stuff. He can occasionally get in tight, block, help the run game, and do those things. I think the fans of New Orleans are really going to like this guy.
That's right, number 87. Keep an eye on him tonight. And stay with us, everyone. When we return, our Saints on 6 team makes predictions for the big game tonight.
Thanks for watching tonight's Cox Saints on 6 Countdown to Kickoff.
Welcome back, everyone. As we get ready to kick off the 2019 season, Saints fans should be excited to know that the black and gold are one of the odds-on favorites to win Super Bowl 54.
Therefore, I assume the odds of all four of us picking the Saints to beat the Texans tonight, probably pretty big. Prediction time, people. Fletcher, you're first.
That's fine. I have a lot of faith in Roman's former teammates, the Saints defense. I'm going 27-14. Saints defense plays great. Jim, what do you have and why?
I'm going Saints win 30-17. The more I think about it, I think maybe more points will be scored by both teams. Definite win for the New Orleans Saints.
Roman?
I got 31-28. I think the Saints and their struggles in the beginning of the season kind of lull. It's just kind of what's been happening. But they find a way to win late to actually break the streak. Field goal, Will Lutz.
I'm going 34-24. Saints win by 10. And I actually think Trey Hendrickson, Marcus Davenport, Cam Jordan, they're going to get to Deshaun Watson tonight.
All right, we shall see a unanimous. I think we kind of knew that we were all going to pick the Saints to win and snap their 5-game season opening losing streak. The game can be seen on WDSU right now. Immediately following the game, we'll have analysis with Roman Harper, Jim Mora, Roman Harper. We will also carry Sean Payton's press conference live and Drew Brees' press conference live. So analysis and insight you can't get anywhere else. Enjoy the game, everyone. Thank you for watching this show. Go Saints.
Thanks for watching tonight's Cox Saints on 6 Countdown to Kickoff coverage on WDSU. Brought to you by Cox, bringing us closer. Rouse's, official grocer of the New Orleans Saints. And Law Tigers, Louisiana's motorcycle lawyers.